Mr. Chairman, I have a
Just one
question.
thing. I'm all for you, the raises you give, trying to help the people, but y'all at a good level, some of y'all out there, try to help the ones that's down, you know what I'm saying? To get them up, to get them up to a level where, y'all don't have to have one at the moment like that, but try to help the ones that's down below to get up, that's not making nothing. Try to help them get up to a level.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question. Did this issue come up, or maybe the other commissioners, in the sheriff's budget, because they had the same type of situation where they had deputies that had been there a long time and then weren't making what the deputies got when they came in? And
We give them all over the board raise. We give
But
them all
they
the
brought them up,
They brought them up.
and that's what
to
we're
a-
trying to do,
Well, Mike,
right?
no, he might be trying to get some of them up, but some of them raises just, was
For
way up there.
promotions.
Promotions and
Different
stuff.
promotions.
Mike said of different levels.
No, but I'm thinking nurses and EMT, there are certain categories where you have turnover.
Yeah.
And those people, new people hired, might make more than the people that have been there, and that's not fair. And I think that's what he was trying to do, and I guess that's what we're directing him to revisit.
You gotta revisit and see what he can afford to give, but what I'm saying is, there's some out there that's not hardly making nothing, hardly no money, Then, you can try to help the low people, try to get up some in their pay scale.
Well, and
I like this.
they need to be fair and equitable
Right.
about it. And instead of this wide gap there needs to be more, consistency in it. Mr. Chairman, if I might say a word, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I asked for permission. I was contacted by the family of Milton Hausman, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, and the family wanted me to commend the hospital staff, the nurses and stuff that took care of the granddaddy. I always called him Mr. Clark Gable, because it to me looked like Mr. Clark Gable. But anyway, they wanted me to say in a public meeting that they want to thank the hospital staff for taking such good care of their granddaddy and stuff. But Mr. Cooper, before we go and talk about these raises, we got some other stuff in here, and then you want to go ahead and do a vote on your motion
Yeah,
and
we
then
got
go
a vote.
into it.
Okay, I got a motion second on, yes, sir.
Can we put a express time on that?
Have it done by this afternoon,
Yeah, by 1 o'clock.
or by by the next pay period.
Yeah, by the next picture.
Yeah, I don't want to micromanage Mr. Cooper. I want to make a suggestion that he go back and reassess within the means that the hospital has the revenue to sustain whatever he comes up with. That was my motion. I don't know exactly what he's got to spend and how he needs, that's his job. It's what we pay him the big bucks for. Not this board's job. But, and he may come back there and say, after reevaluation, I don't have any money I can spend on raises. That's his job. That's not our job. That's his job. And I don't want to take that authority away from him. That's why we pay him the big bucks. You can say we already did, and I'm sorry about that, but you can only do what you have the revenue to do and sustain, so that you're not putting the organization at risk. Now, that was my motion. If, somebody else wants to make one, I would, but that's the way I think it needs to be done. If it takes him 2 weeks to do it, if it takes him a month to do it, he needs to have that ability. That's his job, and I don't want us to sit here and say, have them done by this evening.
No, it's playing smoky.
I've made a motion and expressed my concerns, the board has expressed their concerns. Let Mr. Cooper take the ball and run with it now.
Yeah. And we'll get to see him when he gets the pay scale out, then we'll be able to let Michael look at him and let us know what's going on.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just for clarification purposes, maybe for Mr. Cooper's analysis, I've heard at least I think I've heard two different things from the board. The hourly employees and then the salary employees, or all of the employees. I think Mr. Cooper may need some direction from you on what exactly, or which category of employees you want him to look at. All employees or just the hourly wage employees?
Smokey made the motion.
How can you do one without doing the other?
We have two different, you have that authority to grant wages to the hourly or to all of them, the salaries or the hourly or all of them. I'm just asking for some clarification.
Is there some that just passed?
My motion was not to do hourlies or,
All.
my motion was for him to go back and reassess.
Okay.
But if that's not the pleasure of the board, then I'll withdraw it and let somebody else make a motion.
Well, I've heard two different sort of.
I thought you said everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, just go back and reassess. He's the man we pay the big dollars for, let him go back and reassess, but I just want it done within the revenue constraints that the hospital has. I don't wanna go from one to the other or pick this employee over that employee.
No, don't pick none out. I just want when you get it done, let Michael look at this where he can email that to us, where we can see before you make any
Can I ask a
votes
question?
on it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cooper, what was the difference in the payroll system with the rate? and
What did
not?
the raises cost?
Yeah,
It was about $200,000.
for a year?
Yeah,
How much a payroll?
about $4 million.
$4 million? Well, we ain't able to do that.
You have to allow him to go back under the constraints that we've got and the revenues that we got and come up with a different scenario.
Yeah, we'll get ready. Just one thing, Mr. Cooper, while you doing that, really think about how your salary people's making. You know what they making. We live in this county. The ones that's not making a whole bunch of money. You get where I'm coming from?
Yes.
Okay. Because, I mean, you know, $9.79 an hour is not no money. You know, try to live on. It's hard. All right, I have a motion second on the floor. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Now, I got another question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's one of the good parts. I guess we go to the worst part now. I've been looking on my email, and I've been getting complaints about this doctor turning down people over in East Carabel. I mean, why they not taking patients? I mean, what the problem with that?
Commissioner, if I could, simply, that situation's being addressed, and if you will give me until the next time I'm here, I'm sure you'll find that it's addressed.
Well, now that wasn't the only one I got. It's more than one.
Okay, I understand
I
that.
got a,
I got
I do
seven.
too, Mr. I got a thing full of them. I got one on here last week. The lady went in and it was unreal. She
I'm-
come to my house crying
I'm just-
on my front porch.
I'm just asking,
And this lady's 76 years old, was crying her eyes out over what happened.
if you could just let me, at the next time I'm here, it will be addressed.
Something needs to happen fast.
It will be done.
Okay.
I mean, it's set up to see out everybody, right?
Yes.
I mean, ain't no, okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I had about 7 people in the past week and a half contact me about that same situation. But the one that broke my heart the worst was a couple that both of them was on hospice, and they've been turned away.
One of them.
And they've been turned away from that doctor. Now, I try not to say nothing too much about doctors because I got scolded in the newspaper about it, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to do my job as long as I sit up here. But we need to work on providers. What have you done lately to work on providers, Mr. Cooper?
I've done a lot of recruitment, and
Have you got anybody
I've got 3 in the wings.
in the wings? Okay, let me ask you another question. With this meaningful use money, how much did y'all get?
It was $340,000.
$340? And did y'all pay any vendors with the 340?
We've paid down quite a few vendors, and we've also put, what is it, 360? 360 in our money market account.
Okay, did y'all pay any back to the trust fund on the capital outlay side?
Not at this point.
Okay. You didn't do that. Have you got the LIP funding yet?
No.
How much do you expect to get on the LIP funding?
1.25 million for the fiscal year.
You know they haven't gave out LIP funding in a while to nobody.
No,
And now, are you aware that LIP funding is going to cease to exist come July of 2017 unless certain legislation gets passed?
yes,
And you know the reason why?
yes.
Because the big contributors to that, like Jackson Memorial and all those other hospitals, the federal government does not feel like it's right for them to contribute and then draw money out of it.
Right.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, it's that's the mechanism that they use. What the state is trying to do now is get eligible counties to participate in that program as opposed to hospitals that have participated in that program. We'll see how successful they are. But the biggest issue is between Governor Scott and the federal government.
Yeah.
And whether or not that gets fixed, they've asked him 3 times to redo his plan.
I don't look to it to get fixed. The state association doesn't look to it to get fixed. Because we have to get our agenda way ahead in advance.
Yeah.
And our person that is very into it, Susan Harbin, is saying she doesn't see any good things coming out of it. So we'll just have to wait and see what we got on that. And Mr. Cooper, I'm like Smoker. We try not to micromanage, but there's just some things that your brain tells you need to do. You know what I mean? And this thing with Jared Wester has really concerned me because he is, like I said, above reproach, as far as I know. And with you going back and looking at the raises, I don't know what the issues was because we had no knowledge of it. And like I said, until last Thursday or Friday. Is there any way that possibly that since you are going to be looking at the revisiting raises and increases, is there a way possible maybe you could ascertain talks with Mr. Jared Wester, maybe he will be able to stay? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll ask you to have talks, if you don't mind, to have talks with, and I know you don't get your direction from the board, and if you don't think that still, I'll do a motion. But I would like for you to go and sit down with Jerry Wester and see if you can kind of talk him out of leaving, because like I said, he is a great asset to Franklin County.
Commissioner, I've had that discussion with him once. I'll be happy to have it with him again.
Would you do that?
I think
you do
the
that?
issues are at this point
And would you?
too great.
Would you shoot us an email through Michael and let us know what goes on? Because like I said, I hate to lose the caliber of person that Jared Wester is and everything. Because when you have that happen, it puts your employee esteem to the ground. And I know a lot of employees feel like they're not worth anything, but they do matter in every one of our lives in this county. And that's what it does. And so I'm going to ask you that. And there's one more question. You said you're going to take care of the people that had the complaints on the doctors and stuff. Okay, we're going to let you come back with us on that one because it's a big one. And then the other question I have is, what kind of clinic would you classify Weems East as?
It is a freestanding provider. That's it.
Freestanding primary care provider?
That's what it is.
I'm going to read you something in here. The first use of the infrastructure portion of the sales proceeds will be used to construct an urgent care facility with diagnostic, radiology, and lab services within the city of Carabel with extended weekdays and weekend hours. Thereafter, that portion of the tax will be used for the purpose of renovating, rebuilding, Weems Memorial Hospital in Apalachicola. By you not having it at an urgent care facility, we have broken the terms of the agreement, with the interlocal agreement with the city of Caryville. Would you not say, Mr. Schuler?
That's what it sounds like. I don't quite know what a primary provider is, freestanding versus.
Primary is not urgent care.
They're clearly different, sounds.
That's right. And this clearly states that, and this is signed by Mayor Wilburn Curley Master. Let me see what date it was, on November 13th, 2007. He signed it before he passed. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I want. And I get serious about this one. I want these terms of these agreements to be acknowledged to the hilt. There is no reason for our people to be turned away from any of our medical facilities in Franklin County, and especially in Caryville, when it was voted in by a vote of the people. It says urgent care facility with diagnostic radiology and lab services, and that they will have extended weekdays and weekend hours. Now, up until Dr. Charbonneau left, Dr. Charbonneau and Dana was doing the urgent care stuff. But, and I don't like that either, y'all, but anyway. But Dr. Charbonneau would either take the emergencies and Dana would see the scheduled appointments, or Dana would see the emergency, and anyway, vice versa. I want this done. And I don't care how it gets done. I don't care how much it costs. The people voted on this, and this is part of the cost. And it says, I want to clarify this. And thereafter, after all this is done, with the urgent care facility and the diagnostic radiology and the lab services within Caryville, with extended hours, weekdays and weekends, and I don't remember anything being changed on it, thereafter, that portion of the tax will go for the renovation and rebuilding of wings. And that's what I'm sticking my head at. So I'm expecting something to get done between now and the time you come back to report to us about, I want to see it being ran as an urgent care facility with the, you have the diagnostic radiology on, I think, Wednesdays. I know Wednesdays she's there. And the lab services. But it says extended weekend and weekday hours. And I expect this portion of this tax in the language that the people voted on to be followed through.
Commissioner,
No excuses, Mr. Cooper.
I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm just going to tell you what, it has never been an urgent care
Yes,
center.
it has been.
No, it
Yes,
hasn't.
it has been. Yes, it has been. I
It
bring
has
Dr.
never-
Jane Charbonneau in here, we'll tell you, it has been.
It's a
I was
li-
out there.
It's a license. It's an urgent care license. It's never been licensed as
Well,
an
that's
urgent
on
care
somebody's
center.
back then. Just like, I was gonna ask you another question. Where's the rural health care clinic status at for Weems?
It has
Weems
now
East?
moved from CMS back down to the state, so it
Well,
has made it
like
to
I
the state.
said, if this has not happened, and I thought it had because Dr. James Charbonneau was in there seeing somebody with a finger that had to be sewed up while Dana was seeing a patient. You got somebody in the back's got their hands up.
But that doesn't
anyway,
make it an urgent care center. That's what I'm trying to say. It's never been licensed that way. And an urgent care center basically means it's an ER, except it has off hours. That's the difference between urgent care and emergency.
Well, let me tell you this little story. This person contacted me and told me that their granddaughter had gotten very sick, and they took them out to Weems East. And the regular girl was not there at the window. There was another girl, and they said, well, we can't see them. And they said, well, I thought you were supposed to see them. Said we can't see them, and said, we're not an urgent care facility. And they said, but we can give you a number of the urgent care. You know what number they gave them? The emergency room. The emergency room. The emergency room number. That's not an emergency room. We need an urgent care. That's what we voted on over there in Caryville. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, the people in Carabel and the eastern side of the county are getting all up in arrears because they're going out there, being turned away, and they know what they voted on back in 2007, 2008. I'm telling you.
I
And
don't
Mr.
disagree
Cooper,
with
How many
that.
years have you been here?
2.
2 years. And so I'm telling you, when you come up on whatever you got to do to make it an urgent care facility, I do not care. That it needs to be urgent care. We had discussions with this with the public. It was urgent care, primary, secondary. I'm telling you, we're going to have to do this, or we may face a lawsuit from the city of Carabel. I'm telling you. Or he'd be willing to do it in a heartbeat. But I'm just saying, it's gonna get done. And I'm going by the language that the people voted on. And that's it. And that's the way I feel.
Is there a difference between a primary care clinic and a urgent care clinic?
Yes,
Right now, you're doing primary care?
yes.
So
That's
what
what
she-
it's always been.
Okay, but what she's wanting to do is do away with primary care
No.
and go to urgent care,
Urgent
right?
care.
Urgent
Yeah.
care is like a freestanding ER.
It's a freestanding ER with downtime.
But when the clinic, when
Downtime.
when the Carabel Health Department closed over there and did not provide primary care any longer, then our clinic swapped over to primary care. And what she's wanting you to do is do away with primary care and go back to urgent care.
We've never had urgent care.
It's supposed to
We've
be,
had
it's supposed to be urgent care. It's supposed to be urgent care with down stuff on the primary care. And that's the way it was brought up to the people of Carabel. I sat there in that meeting, like you said over here in Appalachia, meeting in Appalachia, and that's what was being
One
done.
side urgent care, one side the other, right?
One side was urgent care, one side was primary care. That's the way it's always supposed to be. Now, I'm gonna tell you something now. I'm gonna get hot about this because ain't nobody gonna twist my words because it's right there in the ballot language. I'm sitting right here looking at it. And it also says it in the agreement with Apalachicola. It also says that. But the most important thing it says is thereafter, all those things being done, thereafter, that's the portion of the tax that will be used for renovating and rebuilding Wings Memorial. Until we can do what we've got to do and voted on by the people to do, we can't move ahead on nothing. That's what I've been telling the whole time. And so I'm going to tell you, we don't need our people being turned away. I don't care if it's urgent, primary, whatever. We don't need them being turned away for nothing. That's the reason why, if we had everything going like it is, we'd have enough money to pay the raises and buy insurance and do retirement and stuff like that, and things would be doing good. But we need to take a look at this language that was voted on by the people, and we need to do what it says. Because I know quite a few people in Carabel that's very upset about it.
Mr. Chairman,
A lot of people, yeah.
I'd like to know the history if we never have had an urgent care license.
We may
Why-
not, we
why-
may, yeah, Mr. Watson, we may never have had a license for it, but it was done. It was done.
What we did, what has historically been done is what should be happening, and if it's not, then we'll work on that. But it's a walk-in clinic. It's never been an urgent care clinic. It's been a primary care clinic that accepts walk-ins. And to the extent that it does see walk-ins, that can be done. But the sense of urgent care clinic it's not ever been there. It just hasn't. I mean, you can put a stitch in, that doesn't make you an urgent care clinic. So.
Can I say one thing? I got that complaint. I don't know if it's the same one. What the problem is, Mr. Cooper, is that with urgent care, let's say someone has like a stay well, is that what it's called, that type of insurance? The problem is, Staywell will accept
That's
any
the one.
urgent care center.
That's the one.
And so so someone from the county that has that insurance can go there. If it's not urgent care, then they either have to go to the doctor that's on record or to another urgent care. I think That's where it kind of came up, and that's the problem for some of the county residents. They have insurance that cannot be accepted unless we have an urgent care. That-
Wait, is that a Medicaid program?
I apologize, I don't know enough of that to.
Let me look into Staywell, because if it's a Medicare program, all of our people should be providers under the Medicare program, or Medicaid programs, but if there's one that's not, let me look into that. It may be easier to get them, a Dana or whoever, to be a provider in the program than to change the licensure of that
Oh, I
clinic.
think, based on the email, I think they had another doctor that's their primary doctor, or the doctor on their insurance. So they have to see that doctor or another urgent care. That's what I received, Commissioners, and I'm trying to relay what I think some of the problems are.
You say that was a walk-in clinic?
Both of them are, I mean,
One in
both of them
Carabel.
accept walk-ins. Now, there's issues there, but
Yeah,
they
'cause
both,
I fixed to say today,
They
if I
both
get my
accept
blood
walk-ins.
pressure today, I've been out 9 days, and I hope I get it today, because of the doctor you're addressing. I hadn't had my blood pressure in 9 days, I hope I get it today.
You need it.
Yeah, I ain't had it in 9 days.
let me look into the Staywell thing, because if they have a provider and they're not in the area, if our providers are on the program, they can switch providers, and because we accept walk-ins, there wouldn't be any difference.
Yeah,
that's so-
the problem. I don't know. Letting you know.
Okay.
I just want to explain what I think the problem is, what would help the situation.
Anybody got anything else for Mr. Cooper?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna make a motion too, that while you doing all this, we move forward on the hospital. I want all that to go, get it all straight.
I don't think we're ready to move forward yet until he comes
Commissioner.
back and,
I don't
The GMP.
yeah, that, we got a lot of ways on.
We got the GMP, it's done. It's, I put things on hold pending the TMH decision. Where it sits now, the only thing moving forward is they will be moving forward with the required variances for the property, and I think the one that addresses is primarily the percentage of ground coverage that will,
In purpose.
yeah. And then I've shut the design down, but I mean, all they have to do is convert what we've got into design-ready documents. They're ready to go. The contractor's ready to go. It's in budget and in scope. So,
I will read you the sign that's on Williams East. I'm looking at it right now. Williams Medical Center East, primary and urgent care.
I know, I've seen the sign,
That's what I'm saying.
but that doesn't mean
So you
that.
can't say that you didn't get urgent care because it said it on the sign.
It doesn't matter what's on the sign, it matters what's on the license.
I'm just telling you.